It's really, really great. I'm really excited. But it's definitely more like on a personal, personal to me, not
Yeah.
I like, Amanda, I kind of honestly, like when I fought her, it was almost like I wasn't even there, It's a fight that like I barely remember what it was like being in it. It was kind of like I felt like I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just kind of
Yeah.
like brawling in there, It's a fight that kind of went into space for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me, like, and then Amanda went and did her own thing, It wasn't like we were both, I don't know, in the same division, kind of like both trying to get to the belt. She kind of went to flyweight and back in, she's always having good fights and just kind of building her own path to her goals, So definitely for me, it's more like on a personal like level, like man, I want to show people how much I've improved in 5 years. It's been if they go back and see my fight 5 years against Amanda and how our fight will be now, even if it wasn't Amanda, but
Right.
but it's even better that it's Amanda, because I think she's very similar to back then, so I
Yeah.
think this will be like the best way to show the improvement. Um, and then just also too for me to see like, man, how far we've come, and
Yeah.
and I think my career took a big, not a big, but it really it changed, after I got the first loss.
Yeah.
I think I went into the fight thinking like, oh no, okay, even though my chances to lose are a little bit higher, I had all the chance to win that fight, but I knew also too, coming like 4 months after the baby and everything, the
Right.
chances to lose was a little bit higher than like me now. But I was like, I winning or losing, I prefer to get back in. I don't want to stay. I don't want to get like ring rust that everyone was saying. I was only like 2 fights in the UFC. I didn't know really what I was talking about, but that's what people were saying, like ring rust and stuff.
Right.
So I was like, I don't want to go through that. I prefer to get in. Now that I have all this experience and I'm trying to get to the title, and I see like people with two consecutive wins can go for the title, and I'm like, man, the record is makes such a difference, and to be like an undefeated fighter, that kind of intimidates a little bit the other opponents, so
Yeah.
I wish I would have kept my kind of like that undefeated a little bit longer, and I felt like that was a loss that maybe I took too soon when I didn't need to,
Right.
but I still believe I would have had losses in my career and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't like regret it, but yeah, it's something that I'm really want to get back. I want to kind of
Yeah.
race that zero a little bit,
How
even
many
though we'll
times
never
have you
really get.
watched it, Mackenzie?
Man, so I've only seen that fight like twice.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you
I
just don't
barely.
recognize yourself. You're like, that's a different person than I am now.
Man, completely, physically, mentally. I mean, of course, I still have like some crazy overhands that I
Yeah.
throw, that I always like we controlled that a little bit, way better,
Yeah.
but those are like some things that's always good to have in your back pocket, like those crazy kind of heart thing. I was fighting with heart in that fight,
Yeah.
and that's something I think I'll always have. But what my coaches have been teaching me is that we don't need to show that heart like in the first round, in the first
Right.
minute.
Right.
Now I think strikers, they kind of like they feel it out. They see how the opponent's reacting to punches and their distance. That's something that as a grappler we don't understand distance. We don't understand like timing. We just like go and hold on to you and like don't let go kind of thing.
Right.
So now I'm starting to understand that, especially having this will be my fourth main event, so it's 5 rounds, It's like, man, now we have time, I don't need to finish in the first round. You can kind of feel out, see how she's reacting, kind of feel you can get hit. That's okay. It's a fight, it's
Yeah.
not a problem. We're gonna have
Right.
some hits back and forth, and now just have that composure, And so now, not that I'm a striker and everything, but I feel way better now that I want to beat her in all areas.
Right. And I would think nobody could disagree that when they watch you fight, like your striking is way improved, right? I mean, and it looks like
Yeah.
it gets better each fight. It sounds like she had more experience in MMA when you all fought, obviously. It sounds like she might be similar, but you're going to be a very different opponent. Do you think she's going to be in sort of for like a rude awakening when
Yeah.
she faces this version of Mackenzie Dern?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Not that she hasn't been through wars, she
Yeah.
one thing that she's shown is that she's been, especially going like to flyweight and strawweight, she has the experience of fighting like strong fighters, skinny fighters, long fighters, short fighters. She's gotten all the experience that, she's not gonna, I don't think anything's gonna be surprising like as if she hasn't seen it before, but I think the fact that she's fought me before and that's like kind of a confidence, or I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
she'll put in her mind like no, she's totally different, but I don't think so. I think she's gonna think like, oh, I've been here before and I kind of know how she feels like, okay, maybe she's gotten a little bit better strike and we need to be aware. But I know for sure she's gonna be aware of this, of the ground. She doesn't want to get to the ground, because no one wants to risk, take that risk. I don't
No.
think it's worth it. And then to have the striking, I think she'll just be surprised, going in against me.
Yeah. You said you mentioned there have been there have been fighters that have won two fights in a row and gotten title shots. If you win this main event against Amanda, obviously coming off the win over Lupita, that would be two in a row. You're already the sixth ranked fighter in the world. You're knocking on the door of the top five. How do you see you win this fight, Mackenzie? Then what happens? I mean, do you feel like you're right there in the mix for a possible title shot against Wei Lee? How do you see winning this fight and what happens next?
Yeah, I think it definitely puts me in a good position, but like that's my goal, is just to get like, some consecutive wins, no matter if they're behind me in the ranks. Before I was like, no, get me someone ahead of me so that
Yeah,
way it'll put me close. Now, like seeing how the division goes, like Tatiana was supposed to fight Virna and then pulled out because of injury, and then now she's fighting for the belt, and I'm like, what the heck, So now I understand like we just need to have some consecutive wins, especially I think because we're not as like, I mean, if you see the men's like 125 division, like it can be, or even like with not Jamal,
right.
round
Oh
two,
yeah, yeah,
and
Khalil. Yeah.
yeah, Khalil with Alec, he was like number 8,
Ooh,
fighting for the belt,
right.
and it's like
And that was a hell
125.
of a fight.
Yes, in 125, it's like the guys, they're like the guy who just came, it was his first fight in the UFC and he fought for the belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we just need to have a couple wins in a row. And me and Amanda were like win loss, win loss. So I
Yeah.
think if we get this consecutive, we're kind of both in each other's way right now of where we want to get to. But if we can get those consecutive wins, if I can, then definitely like if something happens, someone pulls out from the title, or maybe the next one,
Yeah.
we can slide right in there, and it's kind of just up in the air for all of us, like close, we're close enough, and if we get 2 wins in a row, we can be there, especially if Tatiana wins. That's a fight that I'm like, I really, really want to have with her being a wrestler. I really
Great
think that would be
matchup.
a good matchup, especially like, man, I've been thinking about like Zhang Weili. I'm like, she seems like a nightmare. Like, I'm
Right.
like,
That's
so
striking. It's
someone,
scary, but
so someone else can kind of take her out for me, and then I can go in there with like a grappler. That would be like best case scenario. But I got to get past through Amanda first. Which is not easy.
on that note, and I'll get you out of here on this one. What would you say to Amanda as we are very close now to you guys sharing that octagon for 5 rounds?
Yeah, no, I think just, it's been a long time coming, it's been 5 years. I've been working for this. I mean, I don't know if she's been thinking about me for 5 years, but I for sure have been thinking about like getting this fight back and what it would be like to be able to fight her again. And I think we're gonna put on a great show for everyone. I think the fans are gonna be the ones that win the most from this. I think we're both like, you know, we kind of have the same reputation in the MMA world kind of thing, just being like friendly and all like kind of nice and bubbly,
Yeah.
and then we go out there and then we're like giving these wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's standing in my way the same way I know I'm standing in her way of where we want to get to, so I know we're gonna put on a great show.